Shall we begin? Let's begin.
What have they done to one of the greatest trilogies of all time? And I'm not talking about the prequels. They killed it. Now, before we start this video, yes, Mandalorian, have I seen it? I have. And I think it's a really good first step to recovering from the Disney movie trilogy. But this video is about the Disney movie trilogy and going forward. And yes, Mandalorian is, you know, it's not the greatest thing in the world. It's not Breaking Bad good, but it's a good, fun romp, right? I mean, it kind of has that same nostalgia feeling as the original trilogy. Everybody pretty much knows, if you saw my review of The Last Jedi, I couldn't stand that movie. And I couldn't stand Rose Tico. I couldn't stand Rian Johnson. He butchered Luke Skywalker. I can go on and on. Now, Rise of the Skywalker, if it wasn't part of the Star Wars, whole saga, it would be okay. It would be just a fun, stupid, I guess, somewhat watchable movie, but because it's tied into everything and it's the last of the Skywalker movies, it fell apart. I saw it twice, and the second time I saw it, it got much more dumber. Here's the problem this is the whole reason I'm making this video. Whole reason. That movie makes the original trilogy worse. It makes it worse. Now, when The Rise of the Skywalker was about to hit screen, for me, there was no magic there anymore. I wasn't enthusiastic. I mean, there was not lines out the door like you would think a Star Wars movie. I saw Revenge of the Sith, and even though the prequels, and I think Attack of the Clones is still the worst movie out of the Star Wars movies. I mean, we're not talking about the Ewok movies here. Even Revenge of the Sith had like a line out the door at my movie theater. But with Rise of the Skywalker, that wasn't the case. I think everybody's been fatigued already. I think everybody's been kind of either you're on this side or you're on that side about The Last Jedi. But when this movie came out, a lot of Star Wars fans agreed. It just was super fast-paced, rushed. Storylines concluding made no kind of sense. These characters we've been following since The Force Awakens, to me, there is no love for them. There's no attachment to them. Do I really want to buy a figurine of Rey, Poe, and Finn? Did they really capture that Star Wars magic? Are these characters really that great to own a figurine? The answer is just no. Kathleen Kennedy is the head of all this mess, right? Bob Iger is probably just absolutely pissed of how Star Wars has been going down the drain because of the handling of it. And Kathleen Kennedy is the one person to really, really blame. But I also blame George. He should have at least seen that she wasn't up to the challenge. And George himself sold Star Wars to Disney. That was his decision. And because of that decision, Disney really just absolutely threw it to the ground and spat on it. Or I should say Rian Johnson has. Force Awakens happened. I thought it was a pretty good Star Wars movie. It's a good, safe movie to see where these new characters would go. I was more excited to see where Rey was going to go, especially Finn. You didn't know if he was like force sensitive, if he was going to become like a Jedi. You thought Poe was going to come in and just fly every ship he can get his hands on, the Millennium Falcon especially. Still think it was a absolutely terrible decision. If I was JJ, if I was any of the heads at Disney, I'd tell Harrison, because he comes back in Rise of Skywalker for a little tiny scene, which was probably the best scene out of the whole movie, even though it made no sense. I would tell Harrison, listen, I need you in Force Awakens, but I also need you in the next Star Wars movie. Here's the contract. If you do this, I will make as many Indiana Jones movies as you want. Oh, and there's a lot of cash right behind me as well. Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar, dollar bill, y'all. That was a one mistake, I think, when I was watching The Force Awakens. Like, come on. And then you don't get the Han and Luke reunion as their old men. Oh, such a missed opportunity. That's more of a missed opportunity than Chewbacca not hugging Leia. And then the tragic passing of Carrie Fisher. What can you do with that, right? But I think it definitely was a mistake not bringing Han for at least one more film. But who takes over this and who gets the green light from Kathleen Kennedy? Mr. Ryan Johnson. That's who gets the green light. Looper was okay. He's done a couple other work. I hear Knives Out is good. Haven't seen that film yet. But what he did to Star Wars is he absolutely took the fun, the joy, the spirit out of it. And I think The Last Jedi really was the nail in the coffin. Not Rise of the Skywalker. That wasn't the nail in the coffin. It was The Last Jedi. Rise of Skywalker was just the party you had to go to, and you didn't really want to go to that party. You didn't even like the kid, but here you go, Mikey. Here's your present. It's a toaster, 6 feet. Going forward, Rise of Skywalker did not make as much money as Last Jedi, and I don't believe it's definitely The Force Awakens did not make nowhere near that money. It did make a bill. It still was profitable. But that's not the case. I mean, Amazing Spider-Man almost made $1 billion. Amazing Spider-Man 2, I should say. But what happened? The fan backlash, the fatigue. Nobody cared about that Spider-Man anymore, even though it made quite a bit of money, but it should have made more. When you say Rise of the Skywalker, you should be excited. You should be going to the theaters watching this 5 times. But people who continue to watch it probably saw a lot of the flaws in it. And I kind of blame JJ for it. Now here's this scenario. If I'm JJ Abrams and Bob Iger himself comes to me and tells me, I want you to finish off this trilogy, one, I tell Bob Iger, no. Not one movie. I need 2 movies to wrap this up. And what was wrong with the Rise of Skywalker? Too many things happening, too fast, not enough time. And it's the script is horrible. 2, I told Bob Iger, I do it my way. This is JJ kind of had it his way, but kind of not. A lot of the backstory, a lot of the rumors, especially him bringing in George Lucas to help with the script, and then Kathleen Kennedy, Bob Iger, Disney throwing that out the window. But I say, in contract, I want it my way. Now the third, I think you bring some of these expanded characters in the film. There's no hiding that I love Mara Jade. I think Mara Jade is one of the most strongest, badass characters that can ever come into the expanded universe. But now it's called Legends. Why do you need Rey when you have this character? But then again, they introduced new characters in Rise of Skywalker, and you still don't really get an emotional attachment to Rey. Not too much of Kylo or Finn or Poe. I mean, it's better when they're all together in Rise of the Skywalker than The Last Jedi, because they actually had chemistry, and the actors actually did a fantastic job. But what happened? It's too little too late, you know what I mean? Carrie Russell was going to be in the film, and her codename was Mara. I was like, Disney, you're an asshole. Because I know you're not going to bring Mara Jade in. I know, even though I could see her being Mara Jade, this ain't going to happen. And what happened? Zori Bliss happens, and you don't get Mara Jade. Rebels brought in Thrawn. What is Thrawn up to? He's not dead. If you haven't seen the series, he's not dead. But then again, I thought they wasted him in Rebels, even though I like him in Rebels, but he's still not the Thrawn in the expanded universe. Bring him into the movies. That should have been the main villain. Hell, Rise of the Skywalker, Kylo should have been the main villain. Star Wars, where are we at right now? Well, Mandalorian wrapped up season 1, season 2 is on its way. I think Mandalorian is a great step. I mean, little Baby Yoda is freaking adorable. It's like when Baby Groot was first introduced. You know, everybody loved Baby Groot. I think that's a good step. And then you have the Obi-Wan series, which I think everybody was excited for, but it's a total drama mess behind the scenes. So who knows what's going to happen on that one. Rosario Dawson got cast as Ahsoka, and I love that. I love that casting. I think she's a great actress, and I don't think she can do no wrong. I've seen her in a lot of things, and she always brings her A game to it. There was rumors going on that Brie Larson wanted to be Mara Jade Skywalker, or I should say Mara Jade, in the upcoming any project, Star Wars projects. But you know what? Please don't. Please. If that's the case, I'd rather just throw all this crap out the window and I'm done with Star Wars. Are we all really truly done with Star Wars? Even though The Rise of Skywalker really just negates a lot of Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back, Anakin's legacy, we still go back and we still go watch more. We still repeat and rewatch. I'll still put on Empire Strikes Back. The problem is, it's like Game of Thrones Season 8. It's going to be in your mind of how everything that led up to this certain point gets absolutely shredded in the new trilogy. Right now, Star Wars is just in a bad spot, especially now. Theme parks are closed. The films, we're taking a little break, but then we're going back, and you could call it somewhat of old republic, but it's back before the Skywalker lineage was here. And that's the problem. I think they did the Skywalker so dirty in the movies that why not? Who are we? If we're sick or tired of Skywalkers, that's what Mandalorian's for. We don't need that Skywalker lineage in that. There's other expanded stories out there. There's storytelling out there that you could bring in. But I still believe that it would be nice to have at least a Skywalker in one of these films. He doesn't have to be, or she has to be, to make the focus of it. But it was a huge mistake just killing everybody off. Han's gone. Leia's gone. Luke is gone. And it seems like it's better to die and be a Force ghost than ever living. There's a lot of missed opportunities. I can go over and over again, but I know a lot of people already covered this. So what I'm going to cover is just overall will Star Wars go back to its glory? Will that excitement still be there for the next episodic episode in the movie down the line? Episode 9, well, now it's episode 10. Is everybody going to get excited for that? And I'm going to tell you, no. When episode 1 came out, it came out in 1999. There was buzz for that because it's been so long since the Return of the Jedi. And even though it was a prequel, oh man, they took how many years to build up people wanting more, people wanted new Star Wars, and and then when the trailer came out, something they were kind of like thrown off a little bit. Even though that movie was terrible, people were super excited, and they still came back for the sequel, or Attack of the Clones, and they still came back for Revenge of the Sith. Still the buzz was there, people still bought toys, people still were there to watch the conclusion of those prequels. The Force Awakens comes out, and it's the same atmosphere, it's the same intensity, it's the same enjoyment, right? Everybody's like, oh my, this is now the sequel series to the original trilogy. Now we get to see old man Han, get to see Luke, we get to see Leia. Everybody is excited. After The Force Awakens, though, and everybody was going into The Last Jedi, even though Han bit the dust then, Last Jedi made a lot of money. You could just see those statistics, right? Then you have Rise of the Skywalker. That made money, but still there was no generated buzz. There just wasn't that same kind of feeling that you had with Force Awakens and you had for Episode 1, or even like the prequels and then going on to The Last Jedi. There it is. There's your pinpoint. That's what happened. Last Jedi is really the franchise killer. It is the Death Star, but actually succeeding. As we go forward with more of the TV series, and I'm pretty sure Disney wants to do more TV series with Star Wars because Disney Plus, and they need more content. But as we go forward with that means we're still getting Star Wars. There's no gap right here where there's nothing. There's only like books and toys and stuff and games. No. We're getting actual visual content, new stories in either a big screen, which they won't. They already said they don't really want to. I mean, we're gonna do the old Republic, but they want to do more TV. We will be watching, right? If that Obi-Wan Kenobi or Mandalorian season 2 comes out, we're engaged. We're watching that, and that's part of the Star Wars lore. Yet, think of it, okay? The time between Return of the Jedi and Episode 1, there was really nothing there. There was only rewatching the original trilogy, right? And then that was what led us to like so excited. Look at Revenge of the Sith and The Force Awakens. Once again, really nothing. You had the Clone Wars, and the Clone Wars still on Disney Plus. Bravo to them. I'm glad that they brought that back. But still, there wasn't like live action content. And then you have Rise of the Skywalker and whatever comes next. And I'm pretty sure Rey's going to be either a Jedi Master, trained to the new generation. There is content. There's Obi-Wan, there's Mandalorian Season 2, there's wherever they sprinkle in more in. There's the prequel movies, which I should put the prequel movies the Old Republic movies right here. But I'm going to just say, Episode 10, right? We're getting content, and we're getting fatigued. We're getting very, very fatigued. And I think that's why I say that the Star Wars, unless they do something very drastic, unless storytelling is up the wazoo, unless they do something, Baby Yoda can't carry it, all right? Baby Yoda can't carry this franchise or this whole thing. But if they bring in sprinkles of a lot of characters, maybe from the books, or they actually have very engaging characters that they take their time with, maybe the buzz will be back. But when Episode 10 rolls around, I don't expect fans to be as excited as Episode 1 and Force Awakens. I think Star Wars at this time is just not as magical as it used to be. The main core, the main chemistry, the main reason why we love these movies so much too is those three characters, and that was Luke, Han, and Leia. And if you're gonna butcher something amazing like that, if you're gonna destroy the statues of these characters and just spit on it and just say, we have our own, let's make money off our own, we have Rey, we have Poe, we have Finn, they're just as good as Luke, Leia, and Han, this franchise is not going to go anywhere. The best thing they could do is just move away from this episodic movies like they're doing, and doing TV shows and doing something different along the way. There was a show that was in concept, like 7 samurai, 7 Jedis coming together with all unique personalities. I want to see that. I've seen it before, but I had never seen it in Star Wars. I would love to see that. I mean, Mandalorian has a little bit of that here and there, it's a couple episodes, but what are you gonna do? Are you still excited for the upcoming projects? Are you saying, whoa, Dan, I mean, it's just a movie. It is. It's just movies. But sometimes movies shape the human being you are. Sometimes you grasp on that moment, that glory, and you say it makes you feel happy and good. And sometimes, in this point, you want to be happy and good. But when somebody takes that and says, "Nah, you think you're happy and good, but let me just change it a little bit," I'm like, "No, why are you changing it? Let me just change it." Oh my God, this is the Disney franchise trilogy. They took something that was fine, and they totally ruined it. Kind of like a rant video, I guess. For the last 2 years, I've been watching Star Wars crumble, and the interesting question was, can it rise back up? And there's been videos that says, can it rise back up? Will people still go and watch Star Wars movies? They will, but it's just not going to be the same like it used to be, because the fatigue is there and the handling of Star Wars is just atrocious. I guess the saving grace would be Kevin Feige. I am very interested on what he does with his own Star Wars movie, even though Kathleen Kennedy's probably going to be breathing down his neck. But you cannot rely on Kevin Feige to fix everything. He's a genius. I love what he did with the MCU. I love what he makes great decisions, and he's a fan. I'm hearing, Filoni, Favreau might be taking over the Star Wars just in general going forward. Great. I mean, Favreau is good, but I don't know if he's ready for something like that, if he's ready to take this big franchise. And Filoni, I feel more confident in him because of the love he has for it. But I think it's going to take a lot more work than two people. I think your main heroes that are going to come to play is the script writers. And hell, John Williams is done. I want to hear some composers coming up with some stuff, because Star Wars, the first one, if it wasn't for that music too, you don't get Star Wars. You don't get that Star Wars feeling. So John Williams is gone. So let's see what other composers can come in here and lay down the groundwork for the new material that we're going to get. Favreau, I think he did a fantastic job with Iron Man. He makes great. He's a hit and miss director. Chef is one of my favorite movies of all time, but yet a lot of people don't like Iron Man 2. The Cowboys and Aliens was a mess. So you don't put your full deck of cards and give it to Jon Favreau. But Filoni, I do have good confidence in. Even though Rebels, fantastic show, still had a lot of filler episodes too. So, I mean, going forward, we'll see what these guys can do. I think they're the wild card we need, but I think we need to really put our money with a lot of the people they bring into a lot of the production, a lot of whatever projects they have. Dodged a bullet with D&D. Well, thank you guys for listening. I mean, yes, it's a little bit, I wanted to talk a little bit of Star Wars. I mean, I love Star Wars, but these last couple of years had just been it was very disappointing to see Star Wars crumble as much as it did, especially with the last movie, especially with a lot of videos covering this already and learning about the backstory, about everything that went to the rise of Skywalker. And even Disney, JJ, Kathleen, they're very disappointed on how the reception was of Rise of Skywalker. Thank you guys for listening. If you haven't already, please hit the like button and be sure to subscribe for more Star Wars and other content on my channel. I'm Daniel Man, aka Daniel Son. May the Force be with you.